Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Hey everybody, Ezra Levant here, February 8th. What a pleasure to be back with you. I was away last week. I wasn't far away. I was like 20 feet away, but I was trying to get work done on my new book. I got a little bit done, and by a little bit I mean more than zero. But I was busy nonetheless in the week. We had so much going on. One thing that we're going to announce this week, but we did it already, is we have filed a lawsuit against the Toronto Police Service for roughing up our cameramen, our videographers. I don't even know what the phrase is these days. But 3 of our people, Efrain Monsanto, Abdul Salam Bezirgan, and Lincoln J. Those are their legal names, as you'll see on the lawsuit. Were pushed, shoved, attempted to be tripped by Toronto police simply for doing journalism, covering, in fact, police brutality against anti-lockdown protesters. And the tip of the, and the cherry on the sundae for me was that the police said, oh, journalism is not an essential service. You have no right to be here. If you don't leave, we'll use the law against you. And then another cop said to Efron, only media like CP24 and other pro-lockdown media, he didn't say that part, are allowed to be here, not you Rebel News. So what we have here is police assaulting our reporters and plainly saying why. They don't think our reporters have civil rights. So it sounds like they need a judge to correct them. So we don't have, Justin tells me he's got a few clips. Hey, can you do me a favor before we go to those clips? Can you, and I'm always bad at doing this. I know Sheila and David are much better doing this than me. Can you do me a favor and click share and just tweet it or however you want to share it? And they say it helps the algorithm. Can you click that like button if you like it? If you don't like it, you can click unlike or dislike, but I hope you'll like it. Because I want to share some vids with you. I want to share, there's so much to talk about, and I'm not even talking about going back in time for the week I wasn't doing this. There's so much just over the week, so much just yesterday, even this morning, that I want to cover. So let's just get a few more folks watching. Thank you very much for clicking like and share. And by the way, I think if you haven't done it yet, you should click that little bell, ring that bell, as they say, because I fear that you won't get notifications about our live streams if you don't. Okay, thanks for letting me say that. I mentioned the lawsuit. It's filed at the court. We have it back stamped. I'm going to show you, courtesy of Justin, video of some of the altercations that inform our lawsuit. While that video's up, I'm going to go into my email, get the lawsuit. Justin, I'm going to send it to you just to show people. This isn't the proper video. We'll have a proper video. I just feel like telling people that we did it because they were more locked down and rest of the weekend. So here's Efron and Mocha and Lincoln. And while we're showing you that, I'll get the lawsuit.
The media is exempt, but it's like CP24 and stuff like that, right? So
what's the difference between me and CP24? Okay.
I'm not sure. So you just got to keep moving, right? That's all you got to do.
What's the difference between me and CP24?
I'm not sure what your company is.
If you're not sure, then why are you making assumptions then?
You just got to move. Everybody's got to move. That's it.
Go ahead and go tell CP24 to go move.
You just got to move, sir. We're cautioning you right now, right? We're cautioning everybody.
Protest? Does the charter mean anything anymore? Or is it a piece of paper?
Hey, don't touch him! Do not touch him! Don't touch him! He's media. Okay. Do not touch him. Don't touch him.
Thank you. We're on a public square, officer.
Summertime, you allowed for Black Lives Matter protesters. You didn't break it up. You bent the knee to them, and yet.
Thank you for backing up. I appreciate your
With all due
cooperation.
respect, this is the public square.
This
is Toronto. This is not North Korea.
You have trespass notices under this Dundas Square.
Trespass noticing in the.
They are giving troubles to David on Dundas Square. I need this dismissed.
Thank you, folks. Please disperse.
Guys, you need to disperse with caution. You already, right?
We're not part of the protest, officer.
I realize that, but just under the Emergency Measures and the Civil Protections Act, because there's a remain at home order, so you're only supposed to be out here if you for exercise or if you're walking.
another, guys.
And this social distancing.
We asked you already about that, right?
Well, we have a charter right, officer, to practice journalism, and we're on a sidewalk.
I know we're asking you is to keep the distance. I just explained to you your caution, okay? So as I said, if you're talking about whatever media credentials or whatever that you're discussing, we understand that. That's why I cautioned you. Now, if you want to sit here and stand shoulder to shoulder, not doing anything, and not discussing whatever your work
we're
is,
discussing now.
until you
right?
came up. Like,
So then, if you refuse to go 6 feet apart, we will issue a ticket. That's all I said to you. That's all I cautioned you. Look how close we understand.
Justin, I just sent you the issued statement of claim. I sent it to you by email to your email account, and I sent it to you on WhatsApp also. So let's take a glance at it, because I promised it. Thanks. You pumped that up just a little bit more size-wise. So thank you very much for my old man eyes. I should get a checkup. Superior Court of Justice in Ontario, Abdusalem Bezirgan, nicknamed Mocha, Efrain Osvaldo Flores Monsanto, nicknamed Efron, and Lincoln J. Plaintiffs. And we're suing Toronto Police Services Board, Officer Belsahorek, Officer Wong, Officer Flippin, Officer Rossi, Officer Faisal, Officer Okutin, Officer Lee, Sergeant Ayello, Officer Nguyen, and Officer Yanakakos. I hope I'm saying those names right. I'm sure I'll get to know them quite well in the years ahead. Statement of claim to the defendants, that means the cops. A legal proceeding has been commenced against you by the plaintiff. The claim made against you is set out in the following pages. If you wish to defend this proceeding, you or an Ontario lawyer acting for you must prepare a statement of defense. Skip down. If you fail to defend this proceeding, judgment may be given against you in your absence and without further notice to you. Obviously, they're going to defend. So scroll down a little bit more. If you pay the plaintiff's claim, now this is not a big money claim. This is not about the money. I mean, we do, when someone pushes you, you are entitled to damages, and the lads are in fact claiming damages. But it's about police brutality as a phenomenon in Toronto that is being perpetually displayed, and they're not correcting it. Scroll down a little more. So the first few pages that you can see, the first 3 pages are just throat clearing. So here's the claim itself. It's under the simplified procedure. So we want this trial to move fairly quickly. The plaintiff, Mocha, Abdusalem Bezirgan, claims against the defendants jointly and severally for following: damages in the amount of 50 grand, comprised of general damages, special damages, aggravated and or punitive damages, prejudgment interest, costs, and further relief as this honorable court may deem just. Same thing with Efrain Osvaldo Flores Monsanto, otherwise known as Efron. You saw Efron talking to the cops there. He was the guy they said, oh, you're not CP24, get out. So exact same request there, 50 grand, scroll down. And Lincoln J, exact same thing, scroll down. Okay, so you can see it's not a very long lawsuit. We're already on page 5, and we've just sort of said who the parties are. Here we are. The plaintiffs are individuals residing in Ontario. They're journalists and editors of Rebel News, a federal company. At the material times, the plaintiffs were acting in their capacities as Canadian citizens and members of the public, as well as their capacities as journalists and editors with Rebel News. The defendant, the Toronto Police Services Board, is statutorily charged with and responsible in law for, among other things, appointing members of the Toronto Police Service, establishing objectives and priorities, blah, blah, blah. Point 7, the Toronto Police Services Board employed various police officers at the material time, including the ones we name, and is therefore liable for their acts and omissions. Point 8, Toronto Police is obliged by statute and otherwise by common law to provide police services in a manner that safeguards the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Charter and in a fashion that ensures that its members conduct themselves lawfully in the execution or purported execution of their duties. Point 9, the defendants, officers Belsarek and Wong, are police constables who were down there Yonge Dundas Square on Jan 16th, point 10. The defendants Flippin, Rossi, Faisal, Okutin were down on the 23rd, so we got 2 different dates in question. Background, anti-lockdown rallies in Toronto, downtown Toronto. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, local, provincial, and federal authorities instituted restrictions on businesses and individuals, including mandatory business closures, social distancing requirements, mask mandates, and limits on public gatherings, large and small. The severest of these restrictions are referred to pejoratively as lockdowns. Weekly well-attended anti-lockdown rallies have been held on Saturday afternoons in downtown Toronto since the onset of these restrictions in March, April 2020, and have continued on as an ongoing basis. It goes on, and we talk about the assaults on or about, just go up just one more line, thanks. On or about Jan 16, Mr. Bezirgan, that's Mocha, attended the weekly Saturday anti-lockdown rally on public property near Yonge Dundas Square. As press media, Rebels assigned Mr. Bezirgan to attend and report on the anti-lockdown protest, a matter of significant public interest. So he wasn't there for a lark and he wasn't there for a protester, but even if he was, that's his right. He was there because there's a high public interest in talking about this. While Mr. Bezirgan was filming events on public property, members of the Toronto Police, including officers Belsaharek and Wong, threatened, physically assaulted, and battered him without his consent. Okay, it goes on like this. So we describe the different assaults. We name the police. Spoliation, this is a good one. The plaintiff's estate, and the fact is that notice to the Toronto Police of anticipated litigation was delivered on or about Jan 28, wherein it was formally requested that Toronto Police preserve all evidence. The plaintiffs plead that if the said evidence has not been preserved, then it was deliberately destroyed or concealed by the defendants to effect the litigation, such that the defendants or each of them are liable for the tort of spoliation of evidence. Damages, we talked about that. Reliance on statutes, we're going to talk about the Charter of Rights, we're going to talk about Police Services Act and the Negligence Act, and there we go, there it is. That's it. That's the last, scroll down a little bit. That's the end of the lawsuit. And then this is called a backer, it's just the back page. Lists who the different parties are and whatnot. Plaintiffs, defendants, court file number. So that was filed. And I'll put that up on the internet, not right now, but in fact you want to flip that to, I don't know, Sarah or someone. I think we can put that on Journalist Defense Fund, right? And let's set that up because when you sue the police, I mean, it sounds crazy, right? Suing the police are the good guys. They sue you. They prosecute you. But what do you do when the police are badly behaved? Well, you warn them. First of all, you talk to them, which we did. You saw Efron talking to them. Mocha's talked to them before. I don't know if Lincoln has. So you talk to them and you say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You saw Efron was really good. I said to Efron, it takes nerves of steel. Efron's early 20s, stare down a huge cop who's threatening him. That takes guts. It takes guts. Mocha also. So you talk to the cops, it doesn't help. Okay, so our lawyers send a warning letter. It doesn't help. So what do? You got to sue the cops. It's a strange thing, ain't it? But we did. And will the cops defend you? Bet they will. I used to have a cop friend who said, I think I told you this before, he once said, oh, I'm not worried about any gangs. I'm part of the biggest gang in town. I get on my radio and I got 100, or he didn't say 100, I got all the backup I need. I'm bigger than any gang. That's what he said. So not only do they have the physical force, the violent force, but obviously they have all the lawyers in the world. I mean, the Department of Justice, if you look at it that way, is the largest law firm in the country, federal. Provincial is the largest law firm in the province. The city's lawyers will absolutely have the largest, budget, resources. They'll throw 5 lawyers at this. Not only because they can, and obviously they hate us, as is evident, but they don't want to be embarrassed by this. And this is an embarrassing lawsuit for them. So I'd love to get that going on Journalist Defense Fund. Perfect. Just so folks can help. If you think that we need help, worthy of your help, and I think we do need help, and because it's a bit of a David and Goliath situation going up against the police. You know that old saying, you can't fight City Hall? That's sort of what we're doing here, right? I regret that police brutality is becoming a phenomenon of our age. I'm here in Toronto, Canada, but I care about the world. I care most about my own community, my own neighborhood, my own country, but I also care about the world, not just because I have ties and affections for other places, but because many trends are global these days, they're international. So what we see being done in Australia or the UK comes here to Canada too. America, it's slightly different. They have a different spirit, a different system of law, a different history than us. But I believe that studying the United Kingdom and Australia, and to a small extent New Zealand, gives us a premonition of what's to come here. And indeed it is with policing. And I would like to show you 2 videos in a row. Do you have just the videos, or do you have my tweets, or what is it? I don't need the tweets. I can. The videos are fine. I don't need the tweets. I know what I said. So this is from, apparently it's from Manchester, a wonderful city in the north of England, obviously run by a terrible Liberal mayor, leftist, Labour mayor. There's a lot of terrible things in Manchester politically. Their police, I've dealt with their police personally. I'll tell you that story another day. Let me give you 30 seconds on that story now. One of our reporters was at a riot, an actual riot. People throwing stones, people throwing bottles near Manchester. And filmed the riot. There were police there, including a 2-man video crew for the police, which they do for facial recognition. So police will video the whole crowd in high def, throw that through their Clearview AI or whatever, facial recognition, they'll build immediately a database of everyone in the riot. It's actually terrifying. And it's one of the reasons why the Antifa Black Bloc love the masks. So our reporter is there filming the rioters, filming this riot, almost gets hit. 2 cops are there with their high-def facial recognition camera. But they're not pointing it at the rioters. They're pointing it at the people being victimized by the riots. They didn't care about the riot. So Interpol, did I tell you this story before? Interpol, you know, that's the International Police Agency, they contact me and say, can we get your footage? Because our cops weren't actually filming the crime. True story. So yeah, the police. So here's Manchester police. The people who did not film they were in a riot. They were in a riot. They were in the riot. The police, they didn't stop the riot. They didn't make one arrest in the riot. They were there to film people, but they didn't film the rioters. That's Manchester police. So apparently there's this coffee shop or restaurant somewhere in the Manchester area. And from what I read, it's a newcomer, it's an immigrant to Manchester. I think he's of Polish background, lots of Polish people in the UK. Hardworking guy. He's got his waiter's apron on, he's working hard in his restaurant, lots of people there. And the cops come in, and this first video I find wonderful. The cops come in, everyone in the restaurant is obviously there voluntarily, because they're done living like they're under the former Soviet bloc dominated Poland. As you know, Poland, until 30 years ago, lived under communism. And it was actually colonized in many ways by the Soviets. So I find that people from Poland and other Eastern European places are very sensitive to the infringement of their liberties, because unlike us who grew up in the luxury and freedom of the West, in Poland they don't take it lightly. And of course Poland has saved the world many times. We won't talk about that now, whether it was the siege of Vienna, or on other occasions. So here's a Pole in a restaurant in the greater Manchester area, and a couple of cops walk in. Take a look.
Są zamknięte.
No są.
Kamerę ma włączoną, nagrywam.
Dlaczego mam włączoną?
Co?
Mam włączoną.
No, mam.
Anna, please. Time, gentlemen.
Co, synuś?
Kurwa.
What's happening?
Szymon, trzymaj to. Trzymaj plecak Leona. Stój. Stój. Stój tutaj. Trzymaj. Moją torebkę puść.
So a couple cops talking to the proprietor, waiter, cook, restaurateur, I don't know his name. And they're talking and talking and talking. And the place is packed by people who know what they're doing. They no longer believe the BS. And they're going out to live lives as humans. And maybe some of those people, at least the old timers, remember to stand up to authority. Remember when the Polish Pope, Karol Wojtyła, otherwise known as Pope John Paul II, the first Polish Pope, really my favorite Pope in the last century. He goes to Poland, he goes to Warsaw during the Cold War. And it was quite a thing. Does the KGB allow him in or not? Be quite something if they wouldn't allow the Polish Pope to go to Poland. Be quite a statement. So they let him in. Can you grab that picture of him when he's landing? Grab that picture of him, his flowing robe. Just Google Pope John Paul II Warsaw Mass. There's this stunning photo of him in black and white where he looks like he was sent by Jesus himself to free that place. And what does he say to 1 million, or maybe it was 2 million Poles? What does he say to them? Do you know, Justin? He says 3 words. Be not afraid. Holy macaroni. That's a good one. That's a good one. Keep showing me more. There's one. Keep just, you know what? You put the Google image search up. I'll tell you the one I mean. So when you go into the heart of darkness, yeah, that's amazing. Keep scrolling. That's just amazing. 1 million, or was it 2 million? All right, I'll find the photo myself later. Maybe I'm misremembering where it was from. So he says, thank you very much. Sorry I sent you on a wild goose chase there. I'm misremembering a photo. It was from something else, obviously. Because what's the chief tool of a tyranny, of a totalitarian dictatorship? Yes, they have police, but they don't have more police than everyone else. The police do their work through terror, right? You're afraid of the police. You're afraid of being snitched on. You're afraid of being snooped on. You're afraid of being sent to the police station. You're afraid of being sent to the gulag. You're afraid of being killed. You're afraid, you're afraid, you're afraid, you're afraid, you're afraid. And soon your fear becomes your jailer. And that fear is supplemented and subsidized from time to time by actual emanations of the state. But the state cannot work. A police state cannot work if fear does not work. Because then people say, hang on, there's, like in that room there's 30 of us and there's 2 dopey cops. Like, they were not afraid, right? Like the most salient feature of that video, and I'm going to show you video part 2 in a minute. The most salient feature of that video was the people weren't afraid. They were enjoying their breakfast or lunch or whatever. The place was, they were not afraid of the pandemic. They were not afraid of the lockdowns. And people who stared down, what was the name of, oh, I'm getting old, I can't remember the name of the tyrant, the last dictator of Poland. Jaruzelski. You know what? That's a name I haven't heard in 30 years. Forgive me my Joe Biden. It's okay that I didn't remember Wojciech Jaruzelski. That he was the tyrant of Poland. He was the dictator of Poland, but really, he answered to Moscow. Call him up, Jaruzelski. He puts his country under martial law. He's a tyrant. Just look at him. I feel hate welling up within me. Yeah, look at that guy with his glasses on. Look at that. He looks like a Nazi. He looks like a Nazi. I forget how to pronounce. Wojciech Jaruzelski. I'm not pronouncing it right. I haven't heard the name in 30 years. And thank God, may his name be forgotten. That tyrant, that thug. So if you grew up in Poland and you learned not to fear that Nazi-like tyrant, and you learned that you had strength in numbers, and you watched Lech Walesa and the Solidarność movement, you're not going to be afraid of a couple of cops from Manchester saying, you can't eat scrambled eggs. And so they weren't. And so can you see that in that video? Just put it up for B-roll while I'm talking. That video, you can't even understand what they're saying. I can't even hear what they were saying. But does he look afraid to you? He looks firm. He's gesturing. Do the people look afraid? They look alert. Skip forward a bit, show the other folks in the restaurant. There's kids there. Yeah, there's kids and families, and they're not afraid. In fact, there's a bunch of young men there, and they drove him out. Look at that guy clapping. They were not afraid of those cops in the police. But then did you hear at the end of the video the screaming? The screaming? Now let's look at what happened outside. So let's pick it up right out. Let's go to video 2. So you had the 2 cops come in. No one was afraid of them. So they were powerless, weren't they? Like, you're going to fight 30 young, healthy guys? No. They don't do well like that. So they dragged the restaurateur out. They didn't drag him out. He walked out, which might have been a mistake because then they had him alone, and then their thuggish side came out. Take a look at this.
Leave him!
What are you doing? Excuse me. A police officer punched him. The police officer punched him. Excuse me. Excuse me. This one in a high vest punched him.
This police officer punched him in the face. Punched him. He punched him in the face. This police officer punched him in the face. What are you punching him for?
Backwards and out of order.
Grace, look at yourself. Look at what you're doing.
You're disgusting. He's trying to earn a living. He's masculine. No, he's masculine. Back up. You will all pay for this. Everyone back up now. You don't get what you deserve. Have you got children?
Was that the end of it, the natural end of it there? Yeah. So they're a little braver when it's 3-on-1 than when it's 2 against 30, aren't they? Cops were a little bit braver, but even then the poll didn't go down easy. In fact, I think he laughed there in the final 5 seconds there. I think he's fitter than those cops. Why did they punch him in the face? Because they could. Why did they punch him in the face? I think it's out of frustration for their own impotence. They did not have the respect or the support of the citizens in that restaurant, did they? They were imposing a law that was rejected, or not even a law, a regulation, or a guidance, or a whim, or a press conference talking point that was not respected by the people in that bar. No one was afraid of the cops in that restaurant, not even the children. There were children there. They were not afraid. No one was afraid. And so, just like when the Pope said, "Be not afraid," to the Poles of Warsaw, 30 years ago, or whenever it was, 40 years ago, excuse me. When you lose your ability to command fear, in fact, that's why ridicule sometimes works. Now, I do not believe that mocking or joking or laughing at authority is enough. Not in itself. Hitler didn't care that Charlie Chaplin made a movie called The Dictator. What did he care? When you laugh at authority, it may free you psychologically from the tyrant of that authority. But it's not enough if the tyrant still has the gun, right? But I think, go ahead. A lot of super chats. So I'm very interested. Let me just say this before I go to the super chats. And yeah, it's 12:30, so we'll take the super chats now. I tweeted, if anyone knows that restaurateur, and you know, we could probably go back and find the name of that restaurant, because very quickly on the outside footage there's you can see, like, I think there was a funeral home or something. Maybe I got that wrong. Can you throw that back up just in B-roll really quickly? Can you try and isolate? Yeah, I'm wrong when I said funeral home. Pardon me. But what's that there? What's that? What's that? Hard to. Okay, keep going. There's some other things that are visible. Keep going. Like, what's it to the right? Yeah, what's that there? What's that? Kane Funeral. Okay, I was right. Kane Funeral. Maybe our watchers can do that right now. Kane Funeral. Oh, what's that? Yeah. Okay, what's that? If we can get the phone number on there. Branches across the Northwest. Okay. Well, we could probably find, if someone, you want to do it right now? You want to go to Google Maps and type Kane Funeral. I know we got super chats. We'll come back to them. So Kane Funeral, just throw it on the line. Just have some fun being some internet sleuths. The reason I say that is because I want to offer that Polish restaurateur a lawyer for 2 purposes. Number one, he's surely going to be charged because he did hit the cop. So he'll need a criminal defense lawyer on the defending side. But I believe he may have, go ahead. Try Manchester. I don't know if it was in Manchester proper, so I would do Manchester, UK, and then in quotes, Kane Funeral. And then if you go on Street View, you might recognize, like, it looks like Kane Funeral is a chain of funeral homes. Anyway, thank you for taking that project up. Because, as our viewers may know, we have a project called Fight the Fines. Our main one here in Canada is .com. There's 3 in Manchester. Well, let's throw them on the screen. Let's show people your work as you're working. No stress, no pressure. All right, so what we got there? Okay, so let's look at them one at a time. And can you get the street view by actually clicking on them? So go all the way to the left and yeah. Oh, okay. Is that it? Click on that image. No, it doesn't look like it. Spin around. You know how to do that? Just spin around. Oh. Okay, so let's put that as a definite maybe. Did it have that red brick with the windows, the bay windows overhead? Maybe. What's that? Okay, zoom in. What's that restaurant right near it? What's like right next to it there? Zoom in on that image. Road. I don't know what that. I don't know what they. Okay, that's not the right one. I think what happened is the Kane funeral has a similar look, and maybe you saw that. Let's look at the others. I know it's 12:35 and we got to get the super chats. I just want to find out where this is. I want to get the number. I want to. It's 5:36 p.m. there. I want to find this Polish restaurateur. I want to make sure he's got a lawyer. I want to say if you don't have a lawyer, we'll give you one. I want to say if you want to sue the cops, let's investigate that. I did see that he struck a cop. That's not good. You don't want to do that. But was it a consensual fight? I don't know. It doesn't work that way if police are acting in lawful authority, but it is true. Cop punched him first, I think. We may be missing. A super chat here from Melly B says UK cop punched him with handcuffs, not fists. Sounds like we found it. Kane funeral. Okay. Street view. And can you get on this? That's the bar. Okay, that's the bar that was blocking the number. Now, can we go on the street view? I think it's around the corner there. You know how? So to the left, you see that white car there? Or let's just spin around. Spin around. Yeah. Show what's around there. So just you know how to take. Yeah. Okay. Do you know how to move to the right? Okay. I want to find the name of the Polish restaurant. Maybe it doesn't have a Polish name. Boy, I'm putting the pressure on. Olga Jenny, Kane Funeral Services, got it. What we're doing, Olga, is now we're looking for which one it is. I think we found the right one in Manchester on Avon Road. And can you, okay, and zoom in. Can you zoom in one tighter, or is that maximum? Okay, and what are the names of the restaurants? There's the Food Box. And what's that other? And what's the other one to the left there? Okay, what's the Food Box? Yeah, do they have a website? I know we should be doing this on our own time, but I'm enjoying sort of the sleuthing of it. Looks like it's not opening. All right, well, maybe someone who's watching, or Zane's Grocery, or Fresh Halal Meat, or or maybe it's Victoria. Anyways, Kate and Luke Cafe, that's what Halifax Matt says in the chat. Okay, I'm looking at the chat now. Kate and Luke Cafe, 13 Burnage Lane, Burnage, Manchester. Do you see that? So 13 Burnage, B-U-R-N-A-G-E Lane. 13 Burnage Lane, Burnage, Manchester. I'm probably pronouncing all of these. Let's do both. Let's start with the street view, and then let's go to the website. And I know we got other things we got to do, but I'm having fun finding out. We got to be out pretty tight at 1 p.m. because I got something sharp at 1 p.m. So yeah, go to the Kate and Luke Cafe. I'm having fun. Kate and Luke Cafe, Manchester. Yeah. Well, there you go. It's in the Manchester Evening News. They right there. Okay, so click on it, and I'm looking at it. There's pictures inside. You know how Google does that? So it looks like British food, but there's also some other food there. You got your British breakfast. Then what's that? You got some I see some herring there. I don't know what, I thought it was Polish. I don't know what some of these dishes are. Christmas muffins and Christmas pudding available. I'm looking at the grub. Looks like a good neighborhood place. I'll be honest, I'm not courageous enough to try. You know what, the British breakfast, you gotta love it. I'm not much for a, oh, you see the menu there? Scroll a little bit, zoom in on the menu. Did you see that? I think it's a little bit lower there. Yeah, a little bit lower, lower. Zoom. Can you click on that one there? So you got a lot of your breakfasts there. Veggie breakfast, Polish breakfast. There you go. I knew it was Polish. All right. Well, when I'm in Manchester next, I know where I'm going. Can you type that now into Google? I see the Manchester Evening Review actually has a written story on it. Let's get a few more facts. And it's 12:41. Let's be done this by 12:45. Then we'll deal with all the super chats. But someone's got to help this guy. Even if it's just to help him. Man arrested and fines issued after police called a COVID breach of 100 people in cafe. Well, first of all, there were not 100 people there. Stop lying, okay? Officers were called to the incident. Oh, what was up there for a second? Just scroll up. Officer called to the incident on Burnage Road Lane just after 12 noon on Sunday. So Sunday brunch. Who wants to go to the restaurant for Sunday brunch? Me. Who would like to go to Kate and Luke? Have some of that bangers and mash. Or what do they call it? The full English. Is that what they call it? The full English? I don't like the blood sausage. A man has been arrested and a number of people have been fined after police were called to a coronavirus breach of 100 people in a cafe. Stop lying. There were not 100 people in there. Officers were called to the incident on Burnage Lane just after 12 noon on Sunday. Police said they received reports of a cafe flouting COVID lockdown rules with approximately 100 people present. Yes, you've said that 3 times now. It doesn't make it any truer. They attended at the scene and arrested a man on suspicion of assaulting a police officer. Yeah, they assaulted him too, buddy. A number of people were handed fixed penalty notices. Greater Manchester Police have not confirmed the name of the cafe, but the Manchester Evening News understands that it was the Kate and Luke Cafe restaurant involved. The owners of the cafe have posted regularly on their Facebook page about remaining open despite the current lockdown rules. When asked by a Facebook user whether they could eat inside yesterday, the cafe replied, "Of course you can eat inside." I want to go there right now. And you know what? The beans, I love a country that serves baked beans with breakfast. Baked beans is a breakfast food, people. We are not a government. It's up to you. Oh, you know, love it. There's the poll in them, right? That's that be not afraid business. The page also posted a YouTube video on February 5 of police visiting the cafe. The clip appears to show a number of customers sat inside eating meals. I'm jealous. Pictures taken of the scene today also show police officers inside the Kate and Luke Cafe restaurant. Speaking on Sunday afternoon, a witness said they've been open for takeaways, but recently we've seen people sitting inside. A witness, oh, a snitch, you mean. Grass, as they say in the UK. Grass. That's a word for a snitch, you know. Today, there were about 50 or 60 people. Oh, I thought you said 100, you wicked liars. Today, there were about 50 or 60 people inside and outside. No one was wearing it. Oh my God, they weren't wearing a mask. It was terrible. They weren't wearing a mask. It was like they were protesting against the lockdown. It was, well, we can't have that. You want them to be afraid, but the Pope told them not to be afraid. And they stared down Wojciech Jaruzelski. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name. I think they can stare down Andy, what's his name, the mayor of Manchester. About 10 police cars turned up. I hear they've got rid of all the crime in northwest England. I hear Knife crime has totally gone away. I hear there's no more acid attacks in people's faces. They throw acid in your face. Who does that? About 10 police cars showed up. He's a nice guy, the cafe owner. We go there for coffee. I don't know what's going through their minds. Well, I know. Be not afraid. That's my guess. Another witness said, I was inside. I heard lots of noise. Yeah, we heard it too. Scroll down. There were so many people outside, the police caught one man and arrested him. Everyone was making movies on their phones. We saw that. In a statement, a Greater Manchester police spokesman said at 12:20 p.m. today, police were called to a report of a COVID breach at a cafe on Burnage Lane with approximately, stop your wicked lies. Officers attended and are still at the scene. A number of fixed penalty notices have been issued. All right, thank you. So now we know the name of the cafe. We know what the snitches say. We know what the police say. We know what our own eyes showed us. And what we don't know is the name of the proprietor, but it might be Ken and Luke, for all I know. And what I would propose is that if someone can bring to the attention of their restaurateur our moral support, then they can elect whether or not to take our legal support. For those, can you go to fightthefines.co.uk if you please? For those who are unaware, and I doubt that's you because you watch our show regularly, we have a project in the United Kingdom where we have several excellent barristers and solicitors. And at fightthefines.co.uk, there might be a problem with that. Oh boy, we got to fix that. We'll go to fightthefines.com, show that one in the meantime, and maybe bring to A10's attention any web problems you're facing. Well, that would be a problem if it doesn't load. No wonder they can't get our help. Fightthefines.co.uk. Yeah, mine's loading really slow. No, mine loaded. Remember, there's two T's. Yeah, fight to the. There you go. Okay, so Fight the Fines UK, and scroll down a bit. So it's very British themed. You got lots of flags. Tell us your story. Free legal defense. Help us out. So look at those. You see those cases there? We're taking cases. All those cases on the left there. In fact, I even did one of them. Do you want to click on that West York's mum just for a second? That was the first one I did before we had a reporter on the ground. Amy Stewart, great lady, single mom. Why don't we watch 60 seconds of this and we'll get to the super chats. Just 60 seconds. So against the pandemic lockdown in Northern England.
Children deprived of an education and to socialise with their peers. I could go on and on and on. For a virus with a 99% recovery rate.
And now look at her being thrown into the back of a police van. What on earth is happening to the United Kingdom? We'll tell you the awful story, and then we'll tell you how you can help her fight back. That young lady is Amy Stewart. She's 30 years old, a single mom with 2 kids. And this summer, after the lockdown, she started giving little speeches around Yorkshire. This one was a few weeks back in the city of Sheffield. She told me it's the first time she's ever done anything political. But then one day, something disturbing started to happen to her. A policeman started sending her text messages to her personal cell phone, just aggressively creeping her. Text message, phone call, text message again. Amy never replied. Why should she? Well, the cops started getting a bit aggressive. Here's one message he sent. This is on Amy's cell phone. Hi, Amy. Hope you are well. My name is Mark Rothery. I am a police liaison officer for West Yorkshire Police, and I work with organizations to help have their say. Oh, really? Is that what police do? I don't think police are actually needed by British citizens who want to have a say. That's more the sort of thing you'd expect to hear from police in Iran or China. Then that cop mentions an upcoming peaceful protest, and he says, I can help with this. You might be the wrong person, but hoping you can help me out to make sure everything is safe in these silly times. Many thanks, Mark. Just a friendly friend, this cop. You can even call him Mark. In these silly times, he's just looking to help Amy have her say, but safely. So he's texting her on her private cell phone like he's some ex-boyfriend who wants a second chance and just won't take no for an answer. I remember that video. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. It really makes me mad just to see it again. That story is ongoing. We continue to help Amy. If anyone can help us get in touch with the Polish restaurateur, I'd like to help him too and his customers. All right, my friends, it's 12:50. I'm going to whip through these super chats. Why? Because I appreciate your support. So what's the first one? Is it from Jewy? Is that right? 279, thoughts on Ontario reopening plans? About time. The entire place should be open right now. People can choose their own fear level. We know the government breaks through lockdowns, so why should anyone else follow them? Seriously. Like everyone from the premier on down, the mayor, the police, they're all breaking their own rules. No one believes in the rules. Jewy again, I've spent a lot of time on Zillow for Florida homes. Yeah, John Tory is letting people party in his Florida house. I mean, who knows, maybe it's even him. Santino, thank you, Ezra, for all the work you've done. You're a true Canadian patriot and hero. Would you ever run for office? I did once, very briefly, about 20 years ago. I never say never, but I sure don't see it in my plans now. Jewy again, Ezra, I'm such a fan, hoping to meet you one day. Well, that's nice of you, thank you. I'm not anti-mask, pro-mask choice, pro-vax choice. Well, as Chris Sky said, anti-masker is a weird way of putting it. Having no mask is the default state. That's the normal state. If you're a masker, you should say that. You're the weird one if you wear a mask or 2 masks or 5 masks. That's not normal human behavior. So you're not an anti-masker, you're normal. It's the maskers who are weird. Mama Savage, $5. Love the work you guys are doing. Keep it up. We love you guys in the Savage home. Thank you. Rust Muggins, $2. A red hand pointing up. Okay, Jewy again. I wonder if you brought secret cameras rather than big ones to cover the protest, you would get some crazy footage since they think they're not filmed. If you're talking about the Toronto protests, there's so many cameras there, including the police body cams. I think everyone knows these days that they're being filmed at big events like that. Joyful Heart, $5. Ezra, I commend you on choosing your staff. They are emotional, as they are not robots, but very calm and well restrained. Great job, and thank you. Well, especially Efron and Mocha were doing a great job standing up to the police silencing them. Jewy, $7. I know a lot of former left friends that have completely changed political opinions during this lockdowns, including my own mother, Storms Bruin. Well, I believe that the working class is being punished by this lockdown. I would call that restaurateur working class. That may not be traditionally what you call an entrepreneur who owns a restaurant, but it's literally he's working, he wants to work. But the lockdown class says, no, you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to have your living in your dreams, and don't worry about us, we won't lose a day's pay. And by the way, we have a staycation, we're catching up on our Netflix. So we're the teachers union, we're the police union, we're the journalists union. We love the lockdown. Mark Delory, $10 pair character jumping up and down, thank you. AMT, $2, you're writing a new book. What's it about? Well, I don't want to give away the secret till I'm ready to give away the secret. Elaine McNeil, $7, read Raheel Raz's book, interesting. Oh, read Raheel Raz's book, interesting, informative, worth the read. Thank you for that. You can find that at abcsofislamism.com. Hugh Prendergast, $28, elections in Florida occur every 2 years, not counting primaries. Campaigns occur prior to both elections and primaries. During campaigns, access must be granted to gated communities, no exceptions. That's a very thoughtful point, Hugh. I got your email on that, thank you. Brackathor, $5, what are you going to do when they make 6 feet distancing another catch-all to shove, arrest, fine anybody? I swear this will be the last thing to go. Oh, that's actually already what they're saying to us. That's what they said to me when I went down to the protests. Raymond Bauer, $7, just got your book, The Libranis, today. Oh, that's great, thanks. Ed Caulfield, $5, businesses have started to trespass people who are mask exempt. What can they do? File a human rights complaint. And I have been meaning to get on top of that. But let me raise that priority up because we have a plan for that. Patricia Mashi, $5, proud to be part of Rebel News movement. Thank you. Mark Bernard, $10, keep up the great work. I hope this helps just a little. Thank you. Melly B, $5, thanks. Another $5 is if Costco or a beer store declare they will not accommodate exemptions, is that not sufficient proof of a human rights violation? Can something be done? Yes. And let me get on it. I'm sorry I haven't been on that as fast as I should be. Brackathor, $5, speaking of polls, after Robert Jakanski, I was at where you're at now with cops. I wonder if we wouldn't be better off with private militias. Well, listen, we got to stop that. We got to fix our police, okay? Fix the police. And I believe our lawsuit will help with that. Bruce B, $2. Rebel, one of the few truth reports left. Thanks. Dewey, 279. Police touch and hug a man for COVID safety. Yeah. Olga Jenny, $2. Thanks. Ray W, £5. Poles are great. Everyone I met anyway. Yeah, I'm the same view. I love the Poles. They, firstly, they're great people and they believe in freedom. I wish I had some Polish lineage in me. I just don't think I do. Melly B, $2. Look, UK cop punched him with handcuffs, not fists. I'll look again. Olga Jenny, $2. Kane Funeral Services, got it. And Shuman Srivastava, $5. The government will reopening the business soon. We need a campaign next time they announce shutdown. We urge business to stay open. Alberta's already doing this. Well, I mean, I believe that Sheila Gunn Reid really helped the Whistle Stop Cafe in central Alberta fight back, and they defied the lockdown. And I think that's the reason why the lockdown's been lifting there. Dr. Fye, $20. Parliamentary Budget Officer Yves Giroux said Canada could only sustain a deficit of over $300 billion for maybe a year or two. As of September, it was $343 billion. Is currently set to reach over $381 billion. I assume we get lower taxes anytime soon. Yeah, not really. Alan Plummer, $5. What's the total number of deaths from all causes in 2019 versus 2020? I bet not much different. Yeah, the so far in Canada, the COVID-19 is about 2.5 times more deadly than the annual flu. It's not something to celebrate, but it is not a cataclysmic event like the flu of 100 years ago, for example. Jeffrey Cap, $5. I got the phone number, Ezra. Did you want to call them? Yeah, not right now, but maybe. Melly B, Kane and Luke. Yeah, thank you. Oh, there's your phone number. Appreciate that. Yeah, I might give them a call. Might have our lawyers give them a call. Miss Becky, 11, $20. The soybean shortage ties appear to tie in with the COVID-19 pandemic. Argentina, Ukraine, Russia stopped soy exports. China buying up stocks. Couple that with big companies allegedly won't buy soybeans from Cerrado. Okay, I don't know anything about that, but thank you for that. Miss Becky, $11. Speaking of food shortages, it's interesting. U.S. farmers paid not to grow crops, and in India, farming protests going on, etc. Anyways, let me work. You know, when you make me think that, of course, Bill Gates is buying up farmland. I think he's now the largest owner of land in America. That's quirky. Timothy Powell, £5. Ezra, the Great Reopening channel on YouTube, have an update on the cafe video has been put online with the cafe owner a bit back. Okay, can you take a note of that? The Reopening channel. I'll have to check that out. The Burbinski, $5. That leaked Liberal letter that you and I and many others believed is fake. Taking a look at it today, a lot of it seemed to have come to pass. Yes, but it was fan fiction that was a good prediction, but it was not. The provenance of that document is what I quarreled with. The predictions, many of them I share, but I didn't want people to think that was a genuine document. The predictions of what could go wrong or would go wrong or were going wrong, I share many of those. But that is not a bona fide, genuine Liberal Party document. And I think whoever wrote it called it that because they wanted to give it some excitement and buzz as opposed to here's my opinion and prediction. Chewy, please touch and hug a man for COVID safety. I think I read that already. Alex, $5. Rebel News has balls of steel. Anshuman Srivastava, switch over to face shields without a mask under. Stop wearing a mask if you're afraid to go places without a mask and get bullied. My suggestion anyway. Well, some of the bylaws describe a mask, and a face shield does not substitute, although no one actually knows the rules, so you could probably work with it. William Large, $5. Thank you for that. I think I've caught up. Have I caught up? All right, well, that's good. You know, I have an interview that I have to go to, so sometimes I don't mind running long, especially when we haven't covered as many things as we meant to do. But I'm really glad we spent some time on that cafe owner, and it sounds like that there's been some updates out there that I'll have to check out. We have so many great stories here that we'll just have to take up another day. Maybe on tonight's show or maybe on tomorrow's live stream with Sheila and David. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up there because it's just about 1. And I have an interview at 1 sharp. 1:05. So, in fact, if we've got 2 minutes, and we do, I want to show just a tiny bit of the body cam footage that Avi Yamini published from a cop in Australia. Just because it really, when you see what the cop says on his body cam when other people are not around, it was quite revealing. But let's just play 2 minutes of this. Let's take a look.
I'm not going to gin around, okay? You either answer the questions.
Under what section of the Queensland Health Act?
Okay. You are not permitted to leave. You are under arrest. Understand that.
Today we're bringing you never seen before police body cam footage from one of the first COVID fines issued down under in April last year.
$644 and a COVID-19 ticket, $13.33, so just under $2,000 worth of tickets for efforts.
Nice work. Thanks, mate.
At the time, Anna Stancobe's live feed went a little bit viral, which she only managed to start a few minutes into being pulled over by Senior Constable Alan Ward. Today, what you're going to see is what led up to Anna's arrest and ultimate fine from the officer's perspective. But before you watch this, you need to know that Anna lodged a formal complaint about what happened that day to the Australian Human Rights Commission and won. Because
it's a great story by Avi. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. But the main thing I wanted to show you is he harasses this woman. From what I understand, it was a 40-minute interaction. She took him to the Australian Human Rights Commission and they settled because their conduct was so abusive. What's even insaner is that they're still after her for the fines. But what I really wanted to show you there, I mentioned the body cam, is that he gave her a bunch of tickets totaling almost $2,000. Oh, public healthy, COVID, you're speeding. Like he pretended it was about all those things. But what was the thing he said when he got back in his car? Did you see that? He said, silver medal, almost got her up to $2,000. And immediately the dispatcher said, good work, mate. Good on ya. Congrats. So it was just about grabbing cash. His whole, oh, well, you're spreading the virus. No, it's just a cash grab, you wicked liar. Super chat from Will Jones, $7. You guys are Rebel News are the reason I still have faith in journalism. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for that. It's 101. Do we have a dog video? We do. As you know, every day on my show, at least, I don't know about the others, can't remember, Justin curates a dog video of his choosing. I usually see it for the first time the same time you do, so I'm really nervous. And I'm going to say goodbye now. Here's a dog video, and I'll be back tonight with my premium show, Rebel News Plus, at 8 p.m. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Here's a dog.